Oh. It. God damn it. Hooray! Well, sorry about that little delayed start, but this is a follow-on from my last video, because as I'm sure you may have seen, I challenged Steve, or Steve Trueblue, to back up his points. And so, how has Mr. Trueblue, or Steve, or whatever the hell we'll call him Steve, backed up his points? Well, first one, relevant one might I add, because he's posted, quite frankly, the most unrelevant things I've ever seen that had nothing to do with what we're talking about. So relevant information doesn't matter to the point. If you want to discuss that information, then go ahead, we'll have a discussion about the information, but at this moment, not interested in it. Okay, one of his first comments he posted was, Jenna to Wakefield, vaccine proponent brutally honest about Jenna. He provides a link to a video from a talk about basically the full movement of the anti-vax movement, and it's a fascinating video because it shows you one thing: the anti-vax movement has not changed. They haven't changed their tactics, they haven't changed the talking points in basically, what, 200 years? Yeah, well worth a watch. But in it, Steve claims that no need to watch it all, so in summary, he honestly admits that Jenna, no medical qualifications. Again, that is entirely false, even in the video, which again you do not acknowledge, was not brought up. Was a member of the Royal Society. So what? Only qualification, it wasn't actually a qualification, it's what got him membership into the Royal Society, was about his study on cuckoo nesting habits. Doesn't really factor into anything, really. Was apprenticed to the King's surgeon, John Hunter. So what? Couldn't get approval to test his idea. Well, actually, he'd already tested his idea in his initial report, but the Royal Society said, we're not interested because the evidence you've provided we don't think is sufficient enough to back up your claims. So what did he do? He went back, got more evidence, and then published his results again. It even says it in the video. And bear in mind, he claims later on that he filmed that video. So anyway, on to my first response back to him, which was, did you even watch the video you sent me? Nowhere does he say Jenna had no medical qualifications, he was a member of the Royal Society, but so what? His vaccine worked. The entire video you sent me is about the anti-vax movement and their stupidity and opposition to it. Right, that's the first one. That was my first response. So, how does Mr. Steve respond? Quotation mark. Did you even watch the video you sent me? End of quotation mark. I made that video. Well, if you made that video, you should know what was in it, and more the point, you should know what the talk was about and the content of the talk, because none of the claims that you make are supported by that video at all. The anti-vax movement has a case supported by the US and Italian courts. 2.45 billion paid out by vaccine courts for damage by MMR vaccine for MMR damage caused by the jab. I've looked that up. I cannot find anything about it. There is no major news article, there is no local newspaper articles I can find. If someone wants to send me that, I'm more than willing to have a look at it. But until anyone can provide that evidence, I'm saying that never happened, has never happened, and is probably made up by Mr. Steve, or probably the anti-vax movement itself, because it doesn't surprise me where he's getting his information from. A reality skeptics can't sidestep. Yes, I can. Well, I'm not even sidestepping it. I'm basically going, I've looked it up, can't find anything. If you want to provide it me, I will take a look at it. Facing the central issue is often the problem for many skeptics, except, again, first of all, so far he hasn't addressed my points that I've made. You'll notice this quite a bit. On the basis of that case of success, Wakefield is gainfully employed in Texas and suing the medical journal and vigilance medical journal Dr. Brian Deere, who illegally withheld critical documents from a judge to do Wakefield legal injury. Okay, first things first. This is the fourth time Mr. Wakefield is actually suing medical journal people and other doctors, not because of that, because, put it this way, if let's ignore that what I've just said there for the time being, but let's take a look at this. Say there was documents withheld. Mr. Wakefield would have, first of all, a right to a retrial. That is the first point. Second of all, if these documents were so supposedly withheld, why then did Wakefield not present the documents himself? You think you're defending himself, you think you're going to get all the information you can. Sorry, but Wakefield's trying to censor other people from talking about him. Anyway, we finally get on to the Jenner. Okay, in that proponents video where Jenner was described warts and all, the speaker who heroises Jenner supports a listing where he honestly reports that vaccine proponents are guilty of lying and misrepresentation on a grand scale to this very day. No, he didn't. A lot of the stuff that was coming out in that video, again, I have to question the fact of did you actually even make or even watch that video, because there's nothing about it in that video. I'm sorry. And I agree there is some hysteria in the vax movement, but the courts in Italy and the US have handed out, again, provide evidence, because as far as I've looked for it, I haven't found any evidence of that. Which is a direct admission vaccines cause harm, cause autism. No, they do not. I have sent him links showing him there is no link, and that Mr. Wakefield's paper was complete bogus. I've even sent him a review done by another doctor basically saying Wakefield fudged his results. If he wanted to get the results he got in his paper, he had to literally fraudulently amend the data to get what he was getting. And again, we'll get onto that at a point a little bit later, because again, Mr. Steve hasn't acknowledged that fact at all. Anyway, don't know if skeptics can get their head around this. Hysteria is widespread, noteworthy in skeptics. I'm not causing hysteria. All I'm asking for, and I've asked for, is proof. Your proof that you provided was lacking. In fact, it even went against his points that he provided. Anyway, It's an immaturity to call everyone who dares to disagree with you stupid. And I'd agree. Except at this point, sorry Steve, you're the one being stupid here, not me. Time and personal experience is a great growth medium. It's a slow antidote for youthful bashfulness. So basically you're saying that because you're older, you're more wiser than me, basically. No, sorry Steve. And as we'll go on to see, this guy claims that I'm a pseudoskeptic. When first of all, hasn't even bothered to acknowledge some of the stuff I'm saying. Again, he's dodging around it. Again, he's brought in the thing about the MMR and like the 2.5 billion I can't find any proof for. Sorry. So anyway, my response to that was, LOL. At the moment, you are just spinning your wheels. A lot of Jenna's stuff we know was wrong back then, but they just didn't know how about the stuff we know now. You know, that's like going back and saying that, you know, Galen, Socrates and all these ancient doctors, while they did improve medical science at their time, they improved it to the best of their abilities. But there was a lot of information, a lot of, you know, science. You know, think how much microscopes just improved medical science. They didn't have access to it. So saying that Jenner was wrong, not really an issue. So I also found 2 articles for him. Why are you even defending Wakefield? He even faked his data. Link to the article. An MMR vaccine does not cause autism. Link to an NHS website detailing why that is the case. So why is 2.4 billion paid out? That's his opening remark. I'm waiting for you to teach us the scientific method. Well, again, if you watch my video, I go through it in baby steps. I'm not going to go through it again if you're too lazy to watch the video. I'm also struck by the similarities between Jenner and Wakefield. Yeah, while Jenner and Wakefield are, completely different. Sorry. See, Jenner proved his point with research and evidence. Wakefield has produced 1 paper and not produced anything else since. His paper was fraudulent, his claims are false. People are hanging on to him because it proves a point. And that point they want to prove is that somehow vaccines are dangerous, and that as a result this builds into the depopulation program and ideas. Again, these people are not to be idolised at all. Anyway, he continues. Jenner was shut down by the doctor clique and not ordered to do his experiments. He did. He proved his point with evidence. And thus had to self-publish. Wakefield was shut down by the doctor clique and had to self-publish. And when he self-published, he didn't because he published in The Lancet. And what is The Lancet? It's a medical journal. And again, his paper was false. I've shown you links. He even falsified his data. I've shown you the link to the page where it shows he falsified his data. And you're still defending him. Okay, his lecture about medical journalist Dia's criminal conduct is quite an eye-opener. Again, why didn't Wakefield produce the papers? If it's a trial and you are on trial for something, do you not think you should provide every single piece of evidence you can to make sure that you are innocent? Apparently not. Because again, at the moment, this is a 4th time he is trying to sue medical journals and doctors from talking about him. And where is he getting all this money? The anti-vax movement are forking over money hand and foot to him. But yet this guy falsified his data and lied. That he's academically dishonest. And yet people are still holding him up. So again, I replied to him, and why are you not addressing my points? Again, why are you defending him? He faked his data, and has been shown that there is no link between autism and the MMR jab. Next response to him, as for his case in Texas, I guess it's fourth time the charm. Link to someone reporting on the case and the facts of the case. And I ask him, why is he trying to gag the media from talking about him? And then, this is, to be honest, the expectation of I've come from people till now. 200 videos I've made about pseudoskeptics. You can look that up in Wiki. It's in a skeptic's own word. Adley described by Marco Truzzi, who invented the word in 1977, and Susan Blackamore's skeptical high priests. Describe the personal behaviours of skeptics. In the second half of the entry, you're about the 10,000th one I have had a dialogue with. Okay. You know who else has claimed this? Supposedly had debates with people, been unable to show his evidence, and like that? Shock of God. Yes. Currently at the moment, Steve Trueblue is using the exact same tactics as Shock of God. I am not surprised. I was only confirming that you are one. I had little doubt, but I was hoping to be wrong about you, but I'm not. Further references include a wonderful website by wonderful learners on the board who coined the terms pathological denialism. Considered to be the best psychologist of the 19th century on skeptics. Really? So you're going to use a 19th century document. Why not one that's recent about skeptics? Unless it proves your point, and that's the only reason you're referencing it. Few rules. Skeptics lie at almost every utterance. Canadian study, do you want a reference? Yes, I do. Pardon me if I yawn at you at your question why someone might want to suppress publicity. Yeah, I do. Because he's wrong. He's shown to be wrong. The people who he's trying to silence have proved him to be wrong. That's why he's trying to silence them. I'm sorry if that makes me a pseudo-skeptic. Okay, here we go again. You just need to live longer. No, age is not indicative of wisdom at all. A great teacher is running your own business to make money. I am running my own business currently. Have never met a skeptic yet who does that. One quickly learns in business there is a need to lie and conceal how the world really runs. Okay, basically you're saying everyone who runs their own businesses lies. That is not how you do business. Again, this guy is an idiot. I'm sorry, but he is. He's using creationist tactics. He's not addressed any of my points. This guy is a moron. Completely. So, I'm sorry, Steve. You failed. You failed, and instead of addressing my points, you've thrown basically a hissy fit. And that doesn't surprise me at all. So, sorry, Steve. You failed.